What was your reaction to hearing Caleb Williams express his confidence about his ability to succeed in the postseason? Does he have the attitude needed for success, or does pride cometh before the fall?
I think I am built for these moments, mentality-wise, how I've worked, and so that's I've been in a bunch of big games before, and a bunch of big rival games, and so in those moments and in these moments, I think I can provide a spark for the team. I think I can do whatever my team needs me to do, whether that's stay in the pocket, whether that's run, whether that's scramble, whether that's whatever, hand the ball off 30 times, and be energetic about it. Whatever it takes is where I'm at and where I'm going to be at for these next couple weeks, hopefully.
Your reaction?
I loved it. I love the way that he is handling all of this. I love the season the guy has had. I think top to bottom, Ben Johnson talked about it a little bit differently, talked about the growth of the player and the difference between how he was when they got together versus how he is now. And I think you see it. You see him taking command, for lack of a better term. He is, I think, Dustin, you can dispute whether or not he is built for these moments, whether he's been through enough to be prepared. But I think that is the attitude you have to have. You have to feel like this is a moment you've been waiting to reach. I think he has a very positive mindset. I think that I don't see this as pride cometh before the fall. I see this more as a young player with good confidence who feels good about himself and feels like he can get the job done. And that is part of the battle. That is half the battle, frankly, just having self-belief. You have to have that sort of attitude in order to succeed. I like a lot of what Caleb has done all of this year. Has it been perfect? No, far from it. But it's gotten better. We've seen growth, and we've seen him tap into the potential that is there. And I think it's going to continue to get better. And maybe a few years from now, he'll chuckle over his reaction to his first playoff appearance. But I think that there will be more to follow. I really think the guy has done a good job and turned the corner, and I love his attitude.
Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
I do think, and he is confident. There is no doubt about that. He is a confident young man, and everybody's wired differently. If he needs to speak it, apparently Ben Johnson doesn't need to speak it into existence. Caleb does need to speak it into existence. He has taken a massive step forward under the guidance of Ben Johnson and his own work. He's had to have put work in to get to where he has gotten. There was some talk last year out of Hallis Hall that he was not putting the work in. He couldn't figure out how to watch film, needed his hand held, yada, yada, yada. But they have come a long way. I'm just concerned with how it's not all his fault, obviously. I'm just concerned with where the offense has started the last couple of weeks. It started very, very slow. And if he needs to spark his team. He said, I'm here to spark my team, whether it's handing the ball off, doing whatever it takes to get my team to the place we want to get to. So I am hopeful, like he is hopeful, that the Bears will win on Saturday night and host another playoff game the following Sunday.
He can provide a spark, as he said, but he also is there to lead his team as much as spark it. And I think this is excellent self-awareness and indicative of how far he has come as a quarterback and as a leader. He's in his second year, has not missed a start, and he is a guy that shows up every game. And his consistency reflected in his durability is as impressive as anything that he has done this year. He was a guy that only a year ago at this time you were wondering about his command and his control and his consistent approach to being a professional. Was he a franchise quarterback in every sense of the word? I don't think you have those doubts now. I think Ben Johnson has helped Caleb Williams as much as anything. Not just scheme guys open, not just put him behind center, not just train him mechanically and through technique and fundamentals how to be a better quarterback, but how to be a franchise quarterback and how to be the most important employee in that building, one that has an effect and an impact on everything he does and everything he says. The confidence with which he spoke yesterday, it instills confidence in every player and every coach and every employee in that building and, frankly, every fan in the city. Caleb Williams believes that he has that kind of effect on the outcome on Saturday night because he does. He is the guy that he believes the Bears can win because of, and he's becoming that guy able to back up the big talk.
It's on the top of my list of questions for Ben here.
That is the voice of Dan Weeder. He joins Mully and Haugh at 7:25. What did you make of Ben Johnson's mindset when he talked about the Bears being prepared to play, quote, 5 more weeks?
Just really focused at the task at hand, and we'll worry about the reflection. We'll have plenty of time to do that when the season's over. But we're not ready for that, And just like I told those guys after the game, we're mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks, and so that's our intent.
Do you believe the Bears think they can get to the big game?
I think this is more of the same what we just alluded to and talked about with Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson did not sound as ready to take his victory lap or even begin it as the media covering Ben Johnson. This is a week where there's a lot of these, let's take a step back and look big picture in the 35,000-foot view of where the Bears were a year ago and what Ben Johnson has done since arriving. And he's like, all I care about is getting my first 15 intact for the Packers because they know this team well, and it's going to feel much different reflecting on this if you don't beat the Packers. And if you don't beat the Packers, a lot of these look backs are not going to be pleasant reflections. You've got to take care of business, and you've got to go into the playoffs thinking that you are going to win the tournament. You are in the dance. You are seeded second. You've got a very favorable draw if you look at it that way. And Ben Johnson is choosing to look at it that way. So just like Caleb Williams, you appreciate the confidence and awareness. With Ben Johnson, I think that when you say, Dustin, he doesn't have to say anything, I think he just said something. They're in it for the long haul.
I want him to say something, David. He keeps saying I don't have to say anything.
But he just did.
I know, that's my point. That's my whole point. He keeps saying I don't have to say anything, but he says something. I don't know what's so confusing about this.
I don't either. And I don't think there's anything to complain about because you have a coach talking big, a player backing it up, and a team ready to compete.
I'm thrilled that Ben Johnson is not ready to reflect on this year's season yet. I'm thrilled by that.
I think it's really interesting because we haven't heard him talk a lot about the Super Bowl or use it as the stated goal or anything like that. But as it turns out, in the postgame, he says that's what he told the players. He's asked to reflect on the season. Well, when you came in, now's not the time for doing that. And as I told the players, we've got 5 more weeks. His attitude is that they are in this thing to win it, and he understands that. He said specifically the way you do that is you win a game, and then you try to win the next game. He understands how to go about doing it, and that is what he's up to. And I loved that he talked about the entirety of what is in front of them as opposed to what is behind them. I think that is exactly the kind of attitude you have to have, and whether you take him, you don't have to say anything at that literal statement, or you realize that he is saying things like he said after the game. Now we really begin. We've got 5 more weeks to play. I think it's excellent. I liked hearing it, and I thought it was a good way to shut down this conversation about reflecting on anything because you're in the midst of it. It's not time to look back. said that he hasn't gotten a lot of messages or a lot of calls from people, and I'm sure he's not looking for that. He's just moving forward, and then you can deal with all that as you move on.